What's up, everybody? Figure might as well go for a trifecta today. Plus, I've been here once and they assaulted me. Got a cop there. Anything I can see from public.
Okay. You've been warned not to be over here and doing the stuff you do. Okay?
I'm on a public sidewalk. Do what you need to do.
You got your gun permit?
I do.
You have it on you?
Yeah.
See?
Can you quote me the statute, please?
You have your gun exposed.
Okay.
And in the state of Indiana, when you have your gun exposed, you got to produce a gun permit. That's part of what you sign, right?
No.
Okay. Well, do you have your gun permit?
Yes.
Where is it?
In my pocket.
Grab it.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. I'm doing it under duress.
You're not doing it right. You have to do it.
I'm doing it under duress.
There is no duress.
Yes, there is.
This is part of what you have to do.
I don't believe
When
it
you
is.
sign it, you can film me all you want. When you sign it, you have to have it because you're exposing it and you're on police property.
I'm on public property.
Okay, well you're at a police station going around there.
Am I on
And
your
there's a lot of things going around with the police.
Am I on the police property?
You were warned already.
Am I on the police property?
Conceal it.
No.
You have to have it concealed. Or what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna call down state.
Indiana's an open carry state.
But you can't have it. You can't have it. This isn't Wild West. This is in Arizona where you have it exposed. You have to have it concealed, and you have to have this.
Indiana is not a concealed carry state.
You can't carry it out like the Wild West.
And it's not. It's tucked into my hip.
But you're not. You're on the police. You're right here. What's
So?
going on here? 394.
Am I being detained?
You're not being detained.
Okay, then I would like my property back.
Well, then you're gonna wait.
I'm not being detained, but you're holding me.
Let me have the warrant check. Last name it's gonna be Seabolt. First name Jeremy. 7484.
Ah. Running me for no reason. I like it. What's your name and badge number, sir?
Sergeant Hurry. Well, you're out here with a gun. I want to make sure that you're not gonna.
How does my name tell you what I'm going to do?
I don't know what you're gonna do, but I just find it weird that someone's out here.
How?
As I'm going to do something, I can see a gun. So I want to
So?
make sure. So you got a gun permit? Then you're good to go.
Exactly. So don't
And
tell me
that's
I have
what-
to
but you
conceal
gotta do it.
carry.
You do have to give it to me. If not, then we can take the gun, and then what we'll do is confiscate, and you have to prove it. It's not to us to prove.
That's okay. I'll have my lawyer deal
Go
with
ahead
you
with
guys. Since we want to harass people for doing lawful activity.
10-4.
Can you get your supervisor out here?
You can stand out here all you want. Al Lincoln Central as well.
Okay, I'm negative. Can I have my property now?
Relax.
I'm negative. I want my property. If I'm not being detained, I'm free to go.
Well, I got this, then you can come get it at the station. Or you can wait till I'm done.
You're done. I came back negative.
I'll tell you when I'm done.
Yeah, I came back negative. What else you need to do?
10%. This is a warning. He's across the street, like the church parking lot. He told me with the firearm exposed. He was warned. There you go. Have a good day.
What was I warned about? Doing lawful activity, sir? Exactly.
That happened right there.
Huh?
You warned him. Gun.
I got it.
You're not supposed to have it exposed like that. Listen,
Show me the code.
someone's going to call on you.
I don't care.
I know you don't care. That's why you're over here by the police
Show
station.
me the code that says I can't have it open. Show me the code. If you could have done something, you would have.
Well, I ran you. That's what I'm supposed to do.
No, you're not.
Suspicious guy by the police station. We warned
Is suspicious a felony or a misdemeanor?
Listen to me.
Exactly. I don't have to ID. Go fuck yourself, you pig.
Have a good day. Film that too and you just flip me off.
I did. Here.
Film it. There you go.
Pig. You're a fucking tyrant.
Okay, we'll go to another police department.
I was.
Okay.
Now I'm here. I will, you piece of shit. I can't go in there. I'm not allowed to go in there. I've been trespassed from the property. So now we're gonna stand here. Last time I was here, they assaulted me. Pretty sure I didn't have to give my gun permit, but I did anyways because they would take me to jail here over it. And my attorney's not on here. I'm not sure what the phone number is here, and they all go to Central Dispatch anyways, so you're gonna have a hard time calling into the police station. But it's East Chicago Police Department on Columbus Avenue. Everything here goes to Central Dispatch, the entire county, so chances of you actually getting into the police department, unless you go to administration, which is closed, yeah. Try to tell me I'm on police property. It's a civil rights violation. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta send a text. Sorry about that. I didn't stand my ground too hard because I did give up my permit, but yeah, he's trying to tell me I can't open carry in Indiana, which isn't true. And then he tried to tell me I'm on police property, which clearly I'm not. So, and then tells me he's going to take my gun and let me prove it. I didn't do anything illegal, but he ran me anyways. So, those are tyrants in America. But give them a call, guys. East Chicago Police. Tell them what's up. I'm not detained, but I have to provide my permit. That doesn't make sense. Go figure. I'm gonna move over here so I can get a better view. This is one of them situations where I should have let him arrest me so I could be rich, because these fucking idiots won't learn. Because you live in the hood don't mean you get to shake motherfuckers down whenever you feel like it. Sorry guys, got a text message. So now we're gonna go down here. There's no sidewalk, so I'm gonna walk on the shoulder and stay off the grass. County 45, plate 693 GAE. County 45, TK 485 LUS. No tag on that vehicle. Police vehicles only. Yep. I've been told not to be here. They told me I can't come inside. That doesn't say anything about public sidewalk. Call Lake County, although they won't respond out here about him threatening me. This is the second time I've dealt with them. If you go look at my other video, they surrounded me. I had one guy shove his phone in my face. Shoved his phone in my face and hit my arm. They surrounded me. They stalked me for like 45 minutes. Went in to file a complaint. I was told I can't come here. They didn't officially trespass me, but yeah. No shit. Well, Lake County won't respond out here, and East Chicago isn't going to do anything. You just seen what they did to me. should have just let him tackle me and take me to jail, but I gotta work in the morning. So they're in there now trying to figure out something. Well, this is how they act. This is twice now that they fucked with me because I choose to open carry a firearm. I just told my wife that East Chicago wants to arrest me in case I'm kidnapped tonight. Need my damn attorney to get on here. My wife just said she needs to hire me a babysitter. Keep calm and level-headed is the advice. Don't let them get me riled up, because that's what they want. Judah. Now we're gonna start getting personal tags since they want to be stupid. Yep. I'm surprised they ain't had more out here. Usually they have them circling me and shit. But these idiots are the least of my worries. There is no sidewalk, so what I'm doing is walking on the edge of the road. I ain't even walking on the grass, so that way they can't say I was on their property. Staying on the sidewalk, crossing at the crosswalks, or not if there ain't a crosswalk like here, crossing at the intersection. I think that cop just pulled out. Yeah, I know there's public easement, but I'm trying to have as little to do with them as possible. I pulled across the street. Now they're gonna stalk me. I may have to call 911 for stalking. I'll be right back, guys. Alright. Oh, what they do is they keep circling the block. So I'm gonna cross at this intersection because there's not one here, not a crosswalk. But I'm texting my attorney, guys. That's why it keeps pausing.
What's up? Can I talk to you for a second?
If you're not gonna, let me finish. If you're not gonna lie and threaten my intelligence, then I will have a consensual conversation with you on one condition. When you get out of your car, I'm not talking to you in your car.
Okay, let me ask you this. Before
Get out.
All I want to do is talk to you. I'm not here to ask you to leave or anything. You have your rights, and I think
So you're not gonna lie to me like that other guy that just commandeered my ID?
Slow down. Here's the deal. Now, I just pulled up. Was I offensive in any way?
No, but
Now, slow down.
you wear the same gang colors those guys do.
Okay, but then you came at me with you're not going to lie or you're not going to do. So you already started the conversation in a negative manner.
Exactly, because that's how he started his conversation with me.
Okay, but am I him?
No, but you're the same brotherhood. Let me get out. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you turned in a bad cop?
When was the last time I turned in a bad cop?
When was the last time you wrote a cop a ticket? When was the last time you arrested a cop?
Well, they have to do something for me to do that.
Okay. When was the last time you did it?
But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's bad cops where they are doing things that are illegal that you have to arrest them.
No.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'll be the first to tell you, and I'm gonna be honest with you. That is part of the brotherhood thing, where it's just kind of you look out for each other. Okay. Now, if another cop's doing something bad, like I arrested a Chicago cop, how's that do? Huh?
That's close.
That's well,
That's
arrested
close.
Another police officer.
That is,
isn't it?
But I mean, here you got guys that I just watched an officer when I was pulling up make a turn with no turn signal. Okay. Not a big deal. But if I would do that, I could be stopped for it.
Here's the thing. Okay, now let me ask you this.
Okay, first, are you a sergeant? I assume, or are you just an officer?
I'm just patrolling, and I respect what you do because here's for me. I consider if officers are well trained, and I don't even want to get into the training aspect of law enforcement, but if they're well trained, then they understand what the Constitution,
my rights and what I'm doing.
That's right. They understand your rights, and then they understand what actions they can do or not do because the Supreme and Circuit Courts guide our actions, correct?
There's tons of case law.
Right. And there's no doubt about it. So the things you're doing, I think, are good things. And you're not the only one. There's a lot of people around this country doing the same thing. I'm all for taking. I have no problem with that personally. Actually, I think it's a good thing.
I think everybody should wear a body camera.
And I like car cams. Okay? One, video doesn't lie.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things.
I'm not here to harass you. I'm not here to use your constitutional right. Yes, the thing that I just want to talk about
Everybody knows who I am. Highland said the same thing when I was over there. They came up and called me by name, and I was like, how do you know who I am? And he's like, I follow your channel. I know who you are.
Exactly. I mean, so you're getting the marketing that you're looking for, okay? And that's the response to what you're doing, okay? Now, sometimes there's cops that overreact.
Like that Mr. Clean motherfucker that assaulted me when I was here last time.
Slow down.
I'm sure you saw that video when I was here last time, right?
Let me ask you this. Am I utilizing any words or talking to you in an aggressive manner?
No.
Okay. We're just having a good consensual conversation.
Yes. I can consensually talk to people that understand and respect my rights. The first guy that pulled up said it's illegal to open carry in Indiana, which anybody with common sense knows it's not. And then told me that I was on police property when I was standing across the street on a sidewalk, which I wasn't. And told me by law, I have to give him my gun permit because I'm open carrying. I've already called my attorney. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. He lied, and I gave it to him under duress out of fear of retaliation.
Well, he's just. Let me try to explain something to you, and I think you can understand this too. In today's day and age, and I'm gonna
interrupt you. Since Pearl Harbor, that's what you're talking about, right? In this day and age, since Pearl Harbor,
in this day and age, let's say
all cops use in this day and age.
5 to 10 years. Let's say even more so in the past 5 years. Have there been a lot of instances where cops have gotten ambushed?
Absolutely. And you guys are in a shitty area. This town sucks.
No, hold on a second. I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Okay, go to the harbor and let's talk about it. Come on.
I've worked here for 20-some years. Trust me, I know. Okay. It's not the city, but there are some bad people who do bad things.
Right, just like in Hammond where I live.
Exactly.
I live in a quiet neighborhood, that's
I
fine.
don't care if you're in Mayberry, something.
Right.
Okay? I mean, there's no doubt about that. But, and I applaud your efforts of what you're trying to do. It's like I tell guys sometimes, maybe there's other ways to do and get your message across that don't necessarily seem where they're confrontational. You know what I mean? And sometimes confrontation can go on both parts. And I'm going to tell you this, you strike me as somebody that understands constitutional law and your rights, there's no doubt. And then you have cops that understand constitutional law and the individual's right as well as the law enforcement officer's rights. And to me, sometimes like just having consensual conversations like this makes life a lot
I'll tell you what,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
You go, and I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
But the point that I was trying to make with open carry is I'm not a fan of open carry personally. It is legal. It is, I'll be the first to tell you it's legal. I'm not a fan of it because
I'll be here. I ain't going anywhere. If you got a call, go.
Roger, see if you can get it back on the line. Okay, you'll be here?
I'll be here.
All right. Give me a few minutes. Let me take care of this and then come back.
I would.
By the way,
I'm Jeremy.
my pleasure.
I would also, if you can do it, because I'm not allowed in the lobby, I would like a complaint form.
Okay.
But I've been told I cannot step foot in that lobby over the last incident because I got the screaming match with a captain or lieutenant or somebody in there.
Okay.
Or I want that guy's sergeant or that guy's boss who was just out here.
Let me see what I could do as far as that form for you.
Okay.
All right.
And I would like his boss too, if you can get him to come out when you come back.
His boss is going to be here now. He's on vacation.
So he's the highest guy up?
Yes.
I mean, he's the shift commander tonight?
Ad hoc.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
All right, Jamie.
I'll be here. So we'll get back to that in a minute. Nick's got a phone call. That's the type of contact I don't mind. I absolutely do not mind that. Nah, he'll come back. Nah, he'll be back. Because we were going to have productive conversation, and he wants to nip it in the ass and get me to stop coming here. So if he can be productive with me, he'll come back. What do you think, High Desert? Think he'll come back? Oh, that's all right. He'll come back. If not, I'll have my attorney get the complaint for him. Last time they dicked me around with open records and shit, and I did it on my own. They wouldn't release the cell phone. They did offer the footage, but refused to let me view it and make my own copy, which Indiana law says I can do. No, I would rather have productive reactions with these guys than negative ones. Like I tell people all the time, I'm not one of those guys out for lawsuits like High Desert. You know, he's filed one lawsuit out of all the shit that's happened to him. You know, when that guy shoved his face in my, or shoved his arm in my face, or shoved his phone in his face with his arm and hit me, I tried to have him arrested for assault or battery or whatever. One's the intent, one's the action. And of course, East Chicago cleared him and said there was no wrongdoing. I talked to 3 different attorneys and was told I definitely had a case, but none of them wanted to take it out of fear of retaliation over it being so close, essentially. I'm gonna sit down here on the ledge, guys. I'm old, fat, and I've walked 7,500 steps today, which is 3.07 miles. It's hot and I'm sweaty. So I'm taking a break in the hood. I bet that guy comes back. Sorry, had to send text message again. Doot, 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 doot. Thirsty. Thinking about walking back down to my car and getting my pop. I had to clean my glasses, guys. I'm gonna set you down for a second. Alright. Got out the old vape pen. Give it 10-15 minutes, see if he comes back. So far, we've educated a post office, had 0 contact, and hopefully we're going to educate East Chicago police. Sorry for the delay, guys. Had to lift up my camera so that little guy could run by. I don't want to put him on camera. Right. I get that not everybody agrees with how I do things or how First Amendment auditing is done. I agree that not everybody agrees with carrying a gun. I understand, I get it. But I have the freedom in this great country to do whatever I want to do. If I choose to walk around the streets of the hood and carry a firearm, by God, I can do that as long as I'm legal. I'm not like one of those free people that's like, oh, you know, blah, blah, blah. No turn signal. Female officer. I didn't get her plate number. Yeah, well, I'm in Indiana, so what they do in California is different than here. My attorney says I can absolutely carry my firearm. She's above the law, and that's what I mean. That's what I was telling as an officer. It's as simple as a freaking turn signal. You bet your ass if I leave here and don't use my turn signal and they see me, they're gonna get me. They're gonna pull me over. So while I got you guys here and we're waiting, I'm gonna throw out my support. PayPal is jls7484@gmail.com. Even $5 helps keep me on the road and helps keep me educating, guys. Every little bit helps. So like I said before in a video, I've been doing this 2.5 years and raised a total of $100. I do a lot of this on my own time, my own money. So anything will help, even hitting the like button. Cali's no open carry. Okay, that's why. Yeah, Indiana is open carry. There's no definition in the state as far as concealed or open. Most people prefer concealed, of course, but Got this blinding ass sun in my eyes. They probably gave him a call because he was talking to me. Like, wouldn't surprise me. What's going on, Lady Warbucks? Just waiting on good old Nick to come back. I think I broke my vape. Damn you, vape. Yeah, I think he'll come back. I think he will. I think he wants to establish the dialogue with me. I think he hopes that if he comes back, I won't come back. I think what I'm going to do is go get my vehicle. I'm going to give it about 10 more minutes. And then I'm out of here. Got a car creeping by. Flashers on. Thank you. Appreciate you guys watching. Illinois tags. Driving slow as fuck. With their flashers on. Hey, there's a cop. And he's back. Everybody on the live stream was debating if you were coming back or not. No, everybody on my live stream was debating if you'd come back or not.
They probably thought I wasn't.
Most people said because I asked for a complaint form that you wouldn't come back.
No. Actually, the records room is locked and I don't have access. That's where the complaint forms are.
Okay.
So I would maybe check the website.
Okay.
If that's what you want to do. Now, let me ask you something. Can I sit by you?
Yeah.
Do you mind?
For sure.
Let me just ask you something. If I got two individuals kind of going back and forth, and I'm sure, you know, I'm watching some of your videos where I see some confrontation on both ends.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no doubt.
Absolutely.
And I applaud you in what you're doing. I have no problem with that. Before, you know, when you would ask, hey, would you give another police officer a ticket, or would you, depending on the circumstances, that's called discretion. So there may be times when yes, but there may be times when we say no too. But here's the other thing, and I think you know it as well. There's a lot of times we don't ticket people that we get tickets to too. So
Right.
it's not just cops, and I'm not sitting here saying that it's, you know, I'm trying to validate, okay, well, we don't give it to people either at times, or citizens. We just look out for ourselves. No, it works both ways.
Right.
If somebody's nice and they tell the truth, and maybe they're just having a bad day or whatever, they roll a stop sign, or you come up, officer, I'm sorry. Okay, no worries. Let me check your license. Okay, have a good day. Be careful.
Shit, I'll give you a prime example. I cut off a cop the other day on 94 doing 83 and a 55 and did not get a ticket.
See?
I changed 2 lanes at once, cut him off,
Okay. So
and discretion. He let me go. And easily,
He could, right.
I expected that fast over, you know, almost
Okay.
30 over.
See, so let me ask you this, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and you can retort. If you come at me aggressively, or was what I perceive as aggressiveness, what do you think I'm probably going to respond with? Probably
Aggression.
most likely
Yeah.
aggression. Okay.
Absolutely.
So the point I'm trying to make is, and I'm not saying all cops are good cops, and I'm not saying all people are good people. There's bad apples everywhere. You know that.
Absolutely.
Okay. The aspect that I'm trying to get at here is the fact of sometimes there can be a different approach to things,
Mm-hmm.
and there could be maybe different ways that we approach or talk to each other. You see what I'm getting?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like where it's like, I don't know you And I could have easily taken it offensively when you're like, "Are you going to lie to me?" You know, and be like, "Oh, God,
Exactly.
come on, man! You're just lumping me in the." That's
but
not fair.
Let me throw some things at you.
Shoot.
The very first time I came here, I was surrounded by 5 officers.
Okay.
I was either assaulted or battered. I don't know the difference. One is the intent, one is the action, correct? Or is it the level?
It has to be knowingly and intentionally.
Okay.
So that's 2 aspects of battery and a lot of other crimes. That
Okay.
has to be knowingly and intentionally, or knowingly and or intentionally.
Okay. Okay.
So-
Well, then I was battered by an officer here. I filed an internal complaint, and of course, when the police investigate themselves, unless it's murder or like a drug dealer, 99% of the time, they find no wrongdoing.
I wouldn't say 99% of the time. I think things are changing, and I think things are, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I want
No,
to add to
you're
what you're
fine.
saying. I think things are changing because of actions of like what you're doing in video and things of that nature.
Right.
That's definitely helping.
Well,
There's
I
no-
had everything on video. I've had 3 attorneys that have told me I should sue your department, but they wouldn't take the case out of fear of retaliation because they were local attorneys.
Good.
Um,
Thanks.
3 attorneys tell me I absolutely have a civil
Sorry,
rights
I didn't
case.
mean to
No, you're fine.
interrupt.
But they were afraid to take it out of retaliation because the reality of the legal system, whether you agree or don't agree, is the judge, the
It's not
prosecutor.
perfect by any
No,
sense of the
it's
word.
not. But the judge, the prosecutor, and the defense attorney are all on the same team. They all belong to the bar. They're all on the same team. So I had 3 attorneys say, yes, I could sue East Chicago for you. Wasn't nothing major. I was quoted somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000 to probably go away just for a guy shoving his phone, an officer shoving his phone in my face and hitting my arm.
Okay.
Because he came up and boom, hit my arm while he shoved his phone in my face.
Okay.
That's simple battery.
Okay.
If I were to do that to you, I would have been arrested.
Well, let's go back to discretion and circumstances, or let's add circumstance now.
Circumstance was the same as it was today.
Okay, so let me ask you this though. Let's say something's happening where there's a situation where maybe an individual's jacked up, or they're PO'd and it's a disturbance, say between brothers or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the brother's there, and the brother pushes one, and we're there, and we break him up, and we're not, and he kind of, and I'm just gonna, this is an example, I'm not doing this to, okay, and maybe he just kind of gives me one of these, you know, because he's so caught up in the moment. Is that simple battery?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
By definition
Okay.
of the law.
But if I look at the totality of the circumstances, is that maybe something I'm going to win in court? I mean, what do you think the chances of that are?
Maybe, maybe not.
And you're right, and it is maybe, maybe not. But sometimes with more years and more time on, you start to really shape your discretion. And discretion becomes a lot more specific
Right.
and detailed, where it's easier to make better decisions.
Right,
You with
but
me?
discretion also doesn't apply to your actions.
No.
It does.
I
It does
just-
in what you see, but if you touch me in an unwanted manner,
Right.
I have every right to place you under a citizen's arrest or pursue legal action against you.
I would agree. I don't know everything
right.
there, but I would agree
Okay,
with some of what you're saying.
so here's where the discretion comes in. Because the guy that touched me was a cop, he was found to do nothing wrong. So here's, like, I get the big picture. Okay, yeah, I'm walking around here with a camera and a gun. I get it. Both of those acts are legal.
They are, but it's also in the perspective of how it's being done. You know, like even the guys that walk around, say with assault rifles, that are trying to make a Second Amendment argument, and they go walking down the street. So let's law and our actions are based on a simple foundation of what would the legal and prudent person think that was in the same situation. So if we look at that foundational perspective of how do I approach things, what would the legal and prudent person do in the same situation, or what would they perceive in the same situation? Would you agree with me that a guy walking down here with a rifle strapped to his back, which is totally legal, can he, would everybody drive by and not call?
No, people would probably call.
Right, because why? It's out of place. And wait, something, a legal and prudent person would be thinking, no, something's not right here.
Right, but
Something's not right.
but your job as a law enforcement officer is, I'll give you a good example. I heard this today, and I've used it once or twice before. My rights don't stop where your fear starts.
Oh, that you're absolutely right. I agree with you 110%.
And that's where there's disconnect. You know, this officer here, that the sergeant, whatever his name was. I mean, I saw you talk to him over here. I was actually getting ready to call the police on him for stalking me.
He's not stalking you.
So, well, I've been stalked here before. The last time I was here, it took me 45 minutes to get away because I was followed. And I actually approached the cops and told them as soon as they left me alone, I would leave. But the longer you follow me, I wasn't going to take them to where my vehicle was parked because they're going to follow me out of town. They're going to try to pull me over. They're going to get my plate. Not that they didn't know who I was,
Okay.
but that's what cops do.
No, not all cops.
Most.
You have to, and here's the thing. You have to remember too, and I'm not verifying any actions on either side. But when cops feel threatened, what do you think happens? We are like a gang. We're a legal gang, okay? And not.
I think you're
not
the
all
first.
cops
I think
are.
you're the first cop in America to admit that.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't mean gang in the sense of illegal. I
Right.
don't mean gang in the sense of we do bad things. We make mistakes. Are there some cops that are bad, that are illegal? Yeah, there are. It's in every profession. It's everywhere. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say we're angels by any sense of the word. But when we want to sometimes approach something and it's a little deeper than just getting into verbal interaction back and forth. I'm just listening to my radio, sorry. Where it's just back and forth. Sometimes we have to get to a point where we have to understand where there's ignorance. Like if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you, hey, Jeremy, hey, man, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you do know more than me. Okay? I don't know everything. I don't know all the laws. I don't know every Supreme Court decision. I don't know every circuit court decision. I don't know every Indiana court decision. I try to stay up on those things. That's part of training.
Right.
Because that is what guides our actions. Okay? So sometimes I have to be willing to say, man, I don't know. And you know, law enforcement is a very alpha-oriented
Absolutely.
profession. Okay?
You pound on your chest and you ask questions later.
Sometimes, some guys do. But you strike me also as an alpha male where you're going to get your point across as well.
Here's the.
And I don't mean those either in bad.
No.
Bad and good to both of them.
I talked to an officer in Hammond the other day. I actually flipped off the wrong cop. I was having beef with a cop, and I flipped off one that I actually, the only one in the whole department that actually, like, I won't say he likes me, but he's actually taking time like this to come sit down and talk to me.
Yeah.
And say,
If I was the chief of the East Chicago Police Department, I'd invite you in the police department.
I'd
give you a tour.
I was refused the meeting.
Well, here's the
Right.
thing. That I'm not the chief.
Right.
I'm
I
just
know.
saying if I was. I would invite you in and I go, okay, Jeremy, give you a tour. We'll show you around. You can ask any questions you want. You're more than welcome. Okay. And then we get into and sit down and have a conversation.
And I've had that with Hammond. It's taken 2 years, but I'm sure you know Steve Kellogg, their public information officer. Kellogg and I have, I won't say an amazing relationship, but about as close as I could have to a good relationship with a cop.
So you're respectful back and
Yes,
forth.
him and
It's
I have sat
reciprocal.
down
Gotcha.
for 2 hours one day, and he talked to me on the record, let me record it, full conversation,
That was amazing.
the whole 9 yards.
Uh-huh.
So now if I have a problem in Hammond, I go to Kellogg,
Right.
he addresses it, taken
How you
care
doing,
of.
ma'am?
Hello. I come
Kinda
up,
makes things a lot easier, right?
Now I've been here twice.
How you doing?
I haven't officially been trespassed from here, but I've been told not to come back. So what do I do if I'm in this city and need help and I can't come to the police department because I've been told I can't come here?
Well, that you can't be denied. That's just like a hospital.
No,
You
I
can't say,
understand.
"No,
I
we
understand
can't
that.
help." That's
But,
not gonna happen.
you know,
Hey, how you doing?
he tried to tell me tonight because I was across the street that I was on police property. I know I'm not on police property. I could walk all the way under the fence, and even if you own the grass, you have to allow public easement from the center of the property because there's no sidewalk.
Well, here I'm gonna make.
And I can debate semantics all day long as far as that goes.
Well, I'm gonna make another legal aspect, and I'm not an attorney, and I don't know for sure. This is a police department, but is it police department property or is it city property?
It's public property,
There you go.
which is owned by
So,
taxpayers.
That's there you go.
And my understanding of the law, in order to be trespassed from public property, I would have to commit a
Hey
crime.
guys. Well, and here's the thing.
You can't just tell me to
That's-
leave because you don't
Hey,
like
how you
me
doing,
here.
sir?
You know what
No,
I'm saying?
that's absolutely right. And what happens at times that I'm sure
She didn't use turn signals. Prime example.
Okay.
I don't know who she is.
So let me ask you this, and we have to be held accountable for our actions. And I think you already know that if we're not on an emergency run, we have to follow the legal guidelines of the law as far
Absolutely.
as the traffic law.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. Do we follow it to a T?
Nope.
No, we don't. Okay. I mean, there was an example there, and that's why for me in my time, it's unless I have a specific reason or somebody's just really having a bad day and is just extremely disrespectful to me, even after I've given them opportunities, I'm not a ticket writer. I don't write tickets. And I don't think it's, have I rolled through a stop sign? I'll be the first to admit I have. Have I sped? Yes. I'll be the first to admit I sped. So it's not fair, and I think that's part of your argument of, well, how can you hold me to that standard as a citizen when you do it or your
Right.
colleagues do it? You're
And the
absolutely
flip
right.
side to
We
that
have to be
is, too,
accountable.
is if you were to go through Hammond and get pulled over for, say, speeding or rolling a stop sign, I would bet my house that you would not get a ticket because you are an officer.
Well, it depends.
And that's what I mean by ticketing another officer. It does depend. But I would venture to say probably 99.5 times out of 100, if you showed your police badge to another officer on a traffic stop,
Well,
you would get let go.
Okay, here's the thing. How you doing, man? Here's the thing, and I can tell you from my experience, when you stopped me as a police officer, I did not tell you I'm a police officer.
But you might be the exception. I would venture
Well,
to say a
because
majority do.
Here's the thing. That officer's doing his or her job. They're stopping me for an infraction. Therefore, I don't come right out, and there are cops, and you're right, man, they just pull the badge out, or they hold it out the window, and it's like, okay, man, that's nice, good for you.
Right.
You went through the stop sign, you didn't even make an opportunity to stop.
Right.
So let's, if a cop's a knucklehead, that's a different story. I mean, I'll hit a cop with a ticket in a heartbeat if they're a knucklehead and they think that, hey, no, this is owed to me. Nothing's owed to anybody in this
Right.
world. Not just this country, but in this world. Nothing is
So-
owed to anybody.
The long and short of tonight, I'm surprised you came over here, honestly. Did they ask you to, or did you decide to?
I had seen a few minutes of the video here, and then I saw some of your other videos, and I was talking to somebody, and I was like, man, I just want to sit down and talk with the cat. I just sit and talk.
So here's my issue tonight. I'll have to look his name up again. He gave me his name, but Sergeant, whatever his name
He's a
was.
good dude, man.
He may be.
Good cat.
And I would, in all honesty, what I would like, instead of filing a complaint, is I would like him to come apologize to me. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Can you request that of him? You could, but is he going to do it? No. But let me explain why.
But I'll make the request if you want me to.
I would, but let me explain why.
All right.
And if you don't want to say he's wrong, you don't have to. If you want to tell me I'm wrong, you can tell me I'm wrong. I am walking down the street with an open carry firearm. He rolls up and says it is illegal to open carry in Indiana. And because I'm open carrying, when I signed for my permit, I signed it. It says in there that I have to produce it upon demand. That's not true. And I would challenge you on that.
Wait.
He said because I'm open carrying, I have to produce on demand.
But didn't you just say that you said when you signed for it?
That's what he said. When I signed for it.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
No,
when
he
you
said.
were I'm sorry.
No, he said when I signed for my permit
I gotcha.
that I agreed that if I am open carrying, that I have to produce my permit on demand. And that is not true.
I'm not going to say yes
Okay.
or no because I don't know 100%.
Well, I know.
So I I would.
Let me tell you this.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that
I-
because I don't know 100%.
I couldn't tell you how far I have to signal before I have to turn at that stoplight.
I think it's, what is it, 150,
Okay.
150 maybe?
I couldn't-
I think legally that's, don't quote me because I'm not a traffic
Right.
guy.
But I'm just telling you, I don't know that.
Right.
But you can bet your ass, if I'm going to walk down the street with a gun,
Yeah, right.
I'm going to know my right. I'm going to know that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And I agree with what you're saying to a point, but let's also go back to the perspective when you said before, what kind of town is this? It's a rough
Exactly.
town.
It is.
So sometimes there's guys that you go, I can't believe he did that. What was he thinking?
Right.
You know, that.
But
may-
you also have to understand that we didn't cross the border. We're not in Nazi Germany.
No.
You can't. He
right.
had no legal grounds. If I would not have given him my ID, or my gun permit, I didn't give my ID. I gave my gun permit, but it has everything on there. I guarantee he would have called in. There would have been.
Hold on. Okay, no, they're dispatching somebody else.
There would have been 4 or 5 officers again that would have came out here, and I probably would have went to jail for refusing the ID.
No, not necessarily, because refusal to ID is only on a traffic stop,
Okay.
as far as I know.
But what gives him the right to walk up to
don't
me?
quote me,
Right.
because
But what
they're-
gives him the right to walk up to a citizen in America? Not let alone me. If you see Joe Schmo walking down the street, and all they're doing is walking down the street, you have no, even if they have a gun, unless you know for a fact that person is a convicted felon or whatever, the law is on my side. I don't have to prove to
I'm not
you.
going to argue that. Yeah,
And that's my
that's
point.
freedom in your movement. I'm not going to argue
He
that
walks
at all.
up and demands my papers. Essentially is what it was. It's my person's papers and effects. He walked up to me standing on a street, no crime, no reasonable suspicion, no probable cause, and demanded my ID, demanded my identification. How is that legal? It's not.
Okay,
You can't justify that.
all right.
I get
I
the
wouldn't-
safety concern. I get
Well, and that's where
Whatever.
that's where I'm going to go with. Sometimes there's things where it's not just, and I'm not justifying any actions that put people in bad positions. And what I'm saying by that is, I'm not going to. This is not Nazi Germany. I agree with you 110%, and that's why this makes this one of the greatest places to live in the world. We're not perfect by any means, but we're definitely not like that. And sometimes there are safety factors or things where it's, say, there's not a specific law, but that's how laws sometimes become court cases for circuit and supreme that go
Right.
to another level that then provide us with guidance.
right.
So here's where I'm going to go with this, and this has always been my thing. Is I do a lot of teaching outside of this place, and I've always, to me, the more you train, the smarter you are.
Right.
Okay, that's why I don't fear the camera. I don't fear the actions of any other individuals, because as long as I keep up my training, and I'm not talking minimal bottom feeder carp training that check the box and that's
Right.
it, then they know things. But
Well, it's
but-
like, go
but,
ahead.
and here's the thing. The other thing too is, so when you come around and sometimes, and I'm sure that there's cops that would probably badmouth you. I'm sure
Happens
there's
on the
cops-
daily.
Well, and here's the thing, and I'm sure there's cops who say, like, here, I think we're having a good interaction. We're sitting down, and there's no, we're not arguing, we're not cursing at each other, nobody's detained, but we're just sitting here talking. And sometimes with reputations, well, you know what happens. Right away, it starts it on the wrong foot.
Well, go push my name in the computer. It's red flagged. I don't know exactly what that means, but I've had 3 or 4 departments tell me that there's an alert on my name
Okay.
when they run me.
Well, sometimes, and here's the thing, people just, like I said, when you're trying to make a point, sometimes doing it in a different manner might be a little bit better.
I'll tell you.
And I'm not trying to be a knucklehead,
No,
and I'm not
no.
trying to, I'm not trying to dissuade you from what you're doing. Like I said, I think some of what you're doing is a noble cause. Some of what you're doing, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't mean this disrespectfully,
No.
is sometimes you want that conflict. Okay.
Here-
So, and I think on both sides, and what happens is when, and we can go back to what we talked about earlier, when there's ignorance on one side or both, then what happens?
Right.
Man, everybody wants to put their feet in the cement, and I'm not budging it. And that's why I
And
said,
that's-
man, if I don't know something, I don't know.
And that's where I stand is like, I'll give you an example. I went out to Highland today, educated a postmaster. Guy came out, told me it's illegal to record the property at the post office. Called the police on me.
Since when?
Called the police on me. Highland rolls.
Now, I would say if you do that at a nuclear facility or maybe a certain military installments,
Right.
yeah, they're gonna be on you.
And there's stuff out there that like that. But
For the most part,
Highland
they'll be
shows
bad.
up, comes up to me like you did, said, "Can we have a consensual conversation?" I said, or he comes up to me and says, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I said, "Am I being detained?" He said, "No." I said, "I don't wish to speak to you. I would like you to go educate him that what I'm doing is legal." So Ken, of course, the guy got pissy. Went over to Griffith, was there 20 minutes, nothing. Standing
Okay.
in the back lot of their police department, nothing.
So here's the cool thing, and I like that perspective that you're throwing down there. So if you know that, and you know sometimes that we're not the smartest, and I could be honest, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and I don't know everything. Never claimed to, and I never will. But I like the perspective you're coming from and what you're throwing down there. So maybe sometimes instead of just trying to make us look like dolts, because sometimes we are knuckleheads, and I'll admit it, okay? Maybe sometimes having paperwork with you that says, hey, look, here you go. Go ahead and read this.
I've done that at times.
You know? And that, I mean, that's a good, because I'd be like, oh, hey, thanks, man, great.
I've done that
Oh,
at
hey,
times.
Jeremy, thank you, man, I didn't know.
And I'll tell you, and it's again, it's each officer.
Yeah, right.
I've had
Some may,
I've
some
had
may not.
paperwork on me and said, "Do you want to read this?" And I've been told, "No, we don't care."
Yeah. No, and there's no doubt.
But my whole thing is I have every legal right to be here. I'm not committing a crime. Whether you personally agree with me or not, because that cop clearly knew who I was, because he goes, "You've been told not to be here." So he clearly knew who I was. Clearly. That to me is, I was profiled because he knew who I was. He demanded my paperwork, in a sense. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, it's your person's papers in effect. He demanded my paperwork, told me I wasn't detained, but refused to give me my property back. How does that work? You know what I'm saying? If I'd have walked off when he told me I wasn't detained and refused to give me my gun permit back, if I'd have walked off, I would have bet you he'd have arrested me for carrying a gun with no permit.
No,
I bet
not
you.
necessarily.
I bet you. That dude was itching to get me. I'm telling you. Same reason why he told me I'm filming the police property, or I was on police property, which I wasn't. You know, everything he said to me, I have on video. And like you said, video does not lie.
Well, and that's a beautiful thing. Of video.
And that's all I want. And that's kind of the rapport I'm building with Kellogg. Is I have probably, I would say, 6 to 8 civil rights violations against the city of Hammond, where their police department has blatantly violated my civil rights.
Okay.
You know, the Supreme Court has ruled you can't just drive up on somebody and flash your light on them and shine it in their camera. You know, there's case rolling out there.
Right.
I've been followed by a cop. I actually was refused to call a service where I went up to an officer and they laughed at me and drove away.
Yeah,
They didn't even roll the window down and say, "Fuck you." They just laughed and waved and drove away.
Well, that
You know what
to
I'm
me,
saying?
Yeah, that's
And
uncalled for.
and I've dealt with those things with Kellogg. You know, I'm dealing with him one now. I had a cop roll up, scream my name out on video, and yell, "Thanks for being a drug informant in my neighborhood." Why would you yell, "Thanks for being a drug informant"? I'm not an informant. And, you know, all it takes, especially, you know, the area we live in, let one person hear that I'm a drug informant and see me get into my car, and then see my wife in that car, my kids in that car.
Hang on 1 second. Hey, could you come back this way for a second?
Was that the sergeant?
Yeah.
So let one person hear that. That could cause me injury, and that's just a slanderous statement. Now, I know you can't comment on that because you didn't see it, you weren't there.
Right.
But that's my point is I tried to have dialogue with the police department and I was shut out.
Right.
I tried to go to the mayor's office and I was shut out. Nobody would speak to me.
Here's the thing, though, too.
So
Jeremy,
how do I make change with your city and educate people as far as what's right and what's wrong as far as what I'm doing if I get shut out? How do I build that rapport with this guy, the chief,
Well,
when nobody will speak to me.
we have to look at other options too, just besides people speaking. Where are there other options where possibly we can talk? Kevin, this is Jeremy. Jeremy, this is Kevin. Okay. Well, we're having a good. At least I feel we're having a good conversation here. And
Nice to meet you, man.
as
gonna-
opposed,
I'm gonna explain my side of things to you.
Okay.
I explained to him what I'm doing. You're on record, just so you know. I'm still recording.
Is he gonna be famous?
You'll get
Why
a
didn't you give me when I was younger, man? I'm starting to
you'll get a
great,
couple
man.
thousand.
You should've
You'll get a
looked
couple
at
thousand hits, and your police department will probably get a few phone calls tomorrow. I'm gonna explain my side to you.
it. Okay.
You can take it or leave it. I was just telling him, I've had a lot of rough dealings with him where I live, and I've dealt with Kellogg over there, who's their public information officer, Steve Kellogg, and I've built a little bit of a good rapport with him. I tried after my first incident to reach out to your guys' department and was totally stonewalled. Nobody would talk to me. The mayor refused to talk to me. The police chief refused to talk to me. And I was basically told that, I tried to file a battery complaint for the officer that touched me. I was basically told, we investigated ourselves and we did nothing wrong. But I'm going to explain something to you. Number one, I know you're wrong on the open carry. You can ask this guy.
Well, yeah, it just changed not too long ago.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the thing I don't like is I'm coming in. I've never met you. So
Okay.
if I knew who you were, I would have never
Okay.
said nothing to you. But I come in there and I was going in the back and I see a gun, and I'm like, I'm the supervisor. I'm not going to let nothing happen to my guys. So once I see who you were, I said, and what did I tell you? I said, I'm just going to check your ID.
But
you have to have it.
But
That was it.
here's where we differentiate. I was under no obligation to give you anything. I had committed no crime. You had no reasonable suspicion. You had no probable cause.
I did have reasonable suspicion. I don't know who you are.
Of what crime?
You're at the station. Well, I seen the gun first before I seen you. I don't know who you are. Once I seen your name, I knew who you were. I said, just show me your gun permit. That was it.
Hang on a
Here's
second.
where-
So let's go back to what we were talking about before, where something's not necessarily criminal, but it goes back to safety. And you even brought that issue up. It's a safety issue.
I understand the safety aspect of
Right,
it.
and that's
But
the aspect where he's coming from.
But
Okay, wait a second.
the whole argument is he's bound by the law,
You're right.
just like you are.
Right.
The law says I can walk down the street and carry a gun. The law says I can hold a camera, and as long as I'm in public, I can film whatever I want to.
You're right.
Both of those are legal activities.
They are.
So
I'm
what
not
he
gonna-
should have
I'm not gonna
done
argue
is
that.
what you did. Get out and said, sir, may I have a consensual conversation with you? And then go from there.
Okay, hang on a second. Hang on. Let me ask you this. So when he came up, because what happened when I first pulled up here? What were the first words out of your mouth?
Right. I asked you if you were going to be a dick like him.
Right. And then what else did you say? Are you gonna lie?
Yeah, are you going to
And
lie
are you-
like him?
Okay. So let's look at this like we talked about before, the legal and prudent person. What do you think they think of your demeanor when you address the initial contact like that?
My
And I'm not trying to be
initial
a knucklehead.
contact was based
But-
off of him telling me that what I was doing was wrong when I knew it wasn't.
Okay. So let's
So
go
that
back
instantly,
to. Okay.
if you're going to come at me, he's supposed to know the law. Now, like you said, you can't know every law. Like I
Right.
told you, I couldn't tell you how far I have
And
to
we don't
hit my
know.
signal.
Yeah, right. And we don't know
But-
every law.
But that's what I'm saying. I know what I did was legal.
Okay.
And I know I had no obligation to give him my ID. And just like I told him, if I had not given you my ID, you would have arrested me.
But just now, check this out.
See you now.
Don't you think the state of Indiana, who holds your thing, and they see what you're doing, and if we went in there and made a big old stinker saying that you're doing this and doing it, don't you think somewhere down the line they're going to think about revoking your license because of what you're doing? I mean, yeah, you're walking a line this way, and either way you can go on this side or this side. What you're doing, I mean, it's 95 degrees. You're out here basically harassing the police, being out there trying to start stuff. I was gonna ask you water, so dude. Why would you be out here messing around? Don't you have anything, family?
Can I tell you something?
To be out here?
I went to Griffith today, stood in their back lot for 20 minutes,
Did you talk to Greg Mance,
zero.
the chief?
I've talked to
Jeff Gang?
Jeff Gang. I've dealt with him before. Had very constructive conversation with Jeff.
Jeff's a down-to-earth guy.
Yeah, Jeff's a good dude.
I dealt with him. They came out did a bullshit traffic stop
But
on
see,
me.
Those guys know you. I don't know you.
Okay.
And now that I know you, you can film right here. You
But-
know what? I'll give you water.
But you
But
do.
till I found out
But
who
you
you are-
knew of me.
No,
As soon as
I knew that there was a guy out around, and you know what? You can do what you want to do. But until I can get you and find out who you are and meet and actually meet with
Okay.
you, then now
But-
you can go whatever you want.
but
I
what-
see you, I'll give you water. I
But,
don't care.
but what I'm telling you is what you did was not legal.
Okay, well, I have the right, when I see somebody who I'm unaware of, which is what you're out there doing it, and I didn't care you were filming, but you're filming with a gun out. Hey, wait, are you going to...
So let's go.
Listen, like, are you dating one of the... Is your wife one of the medics? Did you cheat? I don't know what's going on. There's any type of scenario could go on.
That's what a
Once I
consensual
said, hey,
conversation's for.
Yeah, but once
Okay,
I said you
so
got a gun
let's-
permit, there you go.
Exactly, but I had no obligation to give it to you. Under Indiana law, I was not obliged to give it to you.
Okay, so if,
And I would-
the police ask you to provide one, you're not supposed to provide.
You can't, it's not Nazi Germany. You can't walk up to me and say, give me your papers. If there's a reason,
There has to.
absolutely.
That's what. Yeah.
Well,
That's
there is
his.
a
You
reason.
can't-
You're
but
outside.
It's suspicion of
You're a
misdemeanor.
suspicious. You're a
Is-
suspicious person.
Is
when
that
done by police
is that a
department.
felony or a misdemeanor?
It's nothing. You're a suspicious
Okay.
person. It's an
Okay,
investigation.
hang on.
See,
Hang on.
this
hang
is
on.
why
No,
this is
no.
why things get heated.
No, hang on. Slow
Because
down.
we
But
can go at
is-
this all day.
Slow down. We can't. But let's go back to what we were talking about before. It may not be a criminal matter, but what is it? It's a safety matter.
It is, and
Until we find out what's going on,
but
and that's why. Here's the
but-
thing, Jeremy.
the law is the law,
I'm not going to argue that. I
and that's
agree
and
with
that's
that.
my point. Is
Okay. You're
I
right.
get what he's
If-
saying,
Unless we
He-
have a valid reason to stop you, we have no reason
which
to
he
stop
did
you.
not have.
But-
There was no crime.
Right.
Nothing.
But let me add the angle of safety, and you addressed it as well. When something doesn't seem right, and even the legal, and let's just go back to the foundational test that I talked about, the legal and prudent person. Would the legal and prudent person go, that guy filming, he's got a gun showing. Something, what's not right about
Let me
that?
ask you this:
And I'm just,
what
that's
is
kind of
what is
the-
a consensual?
So there's no,
what's
so hang on.
consensual contact for?
Hang on a second. So there's no crime being committed, but the legal and prudent person says, man, something just doesn't
Right.
seem right.
So you call and respond.
Right, and we go and show up.
But
Now,
at that point,
I wasn't there for that initial contact, but I was there for our initial meeting.
right. But from that point, once he shows up, he should have been, hey, would you talk to me? Hey, come and talk to me. And then, like I did in Highland today, am I being detained? It's a yes or a no question.
Okay.
So then that's where the conversation goes. Him rolling up and automatically demanding my ID or my gun permit isn't legal.
Well, did he demand it or did he ask?
No,
if
he
you
told
have
me
a
I had
gun
to give it to
permit?
him.
I asked you if you had one.
Yes,
You
and I
said
told
yes.
you
said,
yes,
Can I see it?
and I told you what
Because
if I
you
don't?
need, You need to have it because you have your gun. And
Right.
I need to
Right.
check that.
So
But
he
you
did-
can't just check people. That's the point.
If you have your gun, yes, you can. You can't just walk around there.
Would you- let me ask you
because
this.
I understand. You can have it showing all you want.
If
But you have to have a gun permit.
if I were to sue you and take you to court, would you trust your knowledge to go to court on that defense?
Why do you want to? What did I do to you?
I'm just because you violated my civil rights over there.
You're walking around the police station with a gun.
But
I don't know who you are.
What-
Okay, look it.
Okay, hang on.
I didn't know who you were. I know who you are. You know what? You can walk around naked out here. Okay. I can care less.
What I do,
But that's indecent exposure.
Then I arrest you.
I'm gonna give
I
you
was
I'm gonna
set
give
them
you a 30-second run over of what I do. I do what is called a First Amendment audit. Have you heard of those?
up. So you go around everywhere and try to get somebody that you could sue.
No.
Basically, what you.
I could have sued your department when your officer assaulted me, but I haven't filed a lawsuit.
Well, I mean, if you felt that you were doing
My
it, do it.
job, what I want, which is what I told him I'm building with Kellogg and Hammond, is a rapport of let's make change through education. Because me suing
Why
you,
don't you try to come right with us, and then you can see where we go to. Then you have a different aspect of what's going on, because then you can see it from my point of view.
I
that's
was
what we had
totally
talked
shut
about a
out
little
of
bit
your
of.
department.
Well, I mean, I can't control it. I'm just saying.
I'm
you
just
would
telling
see-
you.
You would see what's going on, and then maybe you could see what from our
I'm
thing,
just-
and then you would say, hey, you know what? Now I understand what you're talking about. How, hey, man, you know,
I-
this guy, and you were going.
I'm not saying that I don't understand it, but my point is what I do. I don't go out and try to bait cops. If you watch a majority of my videos, the first thing I say is I hope I get no contact. My goal is zero
But
contact.
if you want no contact, you wouldn't be coming out here.
No,
You're coming out here to get contact.
that's not true. That's your perception.
If I didn't want to get contact, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go out with a lightning rod and it's lightning. I don't want to get no contact, but
How-
it's gonna happen eventually.
How do you expose bad officers if you don't go out and look for them?
We have a lot more bad officers than stop you because you have a gun and you're in a police station. There's other things that our officers do
Okay.
than that.
I'm not just saying
Then-
me.
then I would
I'm not
like
saying
you to,
me.
I would
Okay,
like you to
I've
try
sat
to
here
do
and
that.
watched
Hey,
the same
wait,
lady
wait,
go
here,
by
hang on,
twice
hang on.
with no
Let me-
turn signal.
Hang on,
If
let
I
me-
were to
let me
do that, you'd
interject.
pull me over.
Let me interject something. Let me interject. The whole thing here is accountability, and I think that's what Jeremy's looking for. And I think it's accountability, not just doing the right thing and staying within the legal boundaries, but to also make sure that we're trained up. I think that's what his intention. Am I correct?
I could sit
Or am
here
I
and rattle
close?
off case
Why
law.
don't you have a class and tell us,
I-
maybe
I-
you could help. Maybe you could help us
I
out
could
of,
sit-
hey, what you can and cannot do. So when we do have the people who want,
I was shut out of your. I was shut out of your police department.
And that's what we talked a little bit
Like
about.
when you
that
told me
earlier.
don't come on the property. Well, number one, I can. It's public property, and I've never been trespassed. But because I got into a screaming match or whatever with the lieutenant and the thing, I've been shut out of here. So how do I go about making that change or being productive when your department won't respond to me? When the mayor's office won't respond to me? How do I do that?
And that's why I said.
I don't want to give my. I don't want to give my comment.
You don't have to
Maybe
give your
if you're filming
comment.
because
But that's my
you would be
point.
my least of my problems.
That's my point. Is what you did over here violated my civil rights. Whether you want to think you did or you didn't.
I didn't feel I did. I felt that
Okay.
you're sitting out there, and I don't know who you are. So once I seen your name, I thought that was name. You were the gun. I knew you were by the what you did. I said, hey man, you know you can go whenever you
Right.
want to.
But let me-
When
I
I was done.
but let me
And-
tell
and-
you.
And what did I say? Did I tell you got to leave?
You're
No, I just said, but I didn't even tell you have a good day. What did you do to me?
I flipped you off.
Said you did, and I
Yeah.
said, okay, I hope you get that too. What'd you do? And you got
And I
more
did it
than that.
again.
Because you're not. You know what? You want to do that? That's fine. Okay, but
If
I
you
don't know
had-
who you are. I know who you are.
if
can be
you
all
had-
when
if-
I see you now, I'm gonna say like this, Jeremy.
If
I hope
you-
you're having a good day.
If you had
If you
approached,
want, if I have a water, I'll give it to you because it's hot out here.
If you
because
had a-
you're not doing nothing, but I didn't know you.
okay.
Now I do. So
But here's the thing, is when you saw me, and I'm not going to change your opinion, but the law's the law,
okay. Well,
and that's where it goes. Your opinion was I was suspicious. Suspicious isn't a
because you
felony.
got a gun
Okay,
showing.
suspicious is not a felony.
no, it's not.
It's not a
But
misdemeanor.
I have to investigate it.
But you can't detain me for it.
Well-
I'm investigating. I'm investigating.
Do I have-
You can be
okay.
detained when there's an investigation going on.
Let me ask you this: do I have any obligation to comply with your investigation?
Yeah, because you.
You're
out
is
there
it
with
a
a gun.
legal investigation or is it?
I asked you
any
simple
legal
questions. What are you doing out? You're filming. I said you had a gun. I said you have a gun out there, right? You said yeah. You had a gun permit. You said yes. I said can I see the gun permit? You have to. Now that I see it, I have to
Okay.
make sure you have a gun permit.
And
And I said state of Indiana, you have to carry your gun permit all the time, right? If you get encounter with the police,
you
it's
have
gonna
to
be-
carry it, but you're not obligated to produce it unless
But if you don't produce
There's
it,
a
then that
crime.
means you don't have it. So if you get
Well,
arrested,
wait, hang on.
You're-
Hang on a second,
I'm
Jeremy.
just trying to say, you know what?
And I'm not sure, and I'm not going to quote it because I don't know it 110%. But if I ask you to, and I'm just going to use a traffic stop for an example. I pull up on a traffic stop, and most people that we encounter will tell us if they're good or they have a valid gun permit. They'll tell us, "Hey, officer, I've got a gun on my right hip. I'm in Indiana. I'm a valid gun permit." Okay, no worries. This is what I want you to do. Blah 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 blah. See, if I request that, it doesn't have to be a criminal action, or at least I'm thinking it doesn't have to be a criminal action to justify that. And don't quote me, I don't know
a traffic
110%.
stop. I
Okay.
agree with you.
Okay.
I for one do not volunteer that I have a gun. What I have done is when cops have ran my name,
Uh-huh.
they will ask me if I have my permit or my firearm.
Uh-huh.
Then I will tell them. The difference between your scenario and our scenario is you had a reason to potentially stop somebody, a traffic
right,
infraction,
I'm with
whatever. He walks up on me like it's Nazi fucking Germany
Well,
and demands my papers.
and here's the thing.
And that's
so let's
and that's
go
where
back
we're
to-
having the
Let's go back to criminal and safety. And I think his argument is more from the safety aspect.
Can I tell you
And I'm
something?
not going to be a
Let me
knucklehead,
tell you
I'm
something else. I don't know the ruling off the top of my head. You can look it up. The Supreme Court has ruled you have no obligation as a police officer to protect the public. There is a Supreme Court ruling on that. My safety is not your concern.
just-
Look it
I'm
up.
going home.
Look it up. My safety is not your concern. And there is case ruling on that. He can't just walk up. So everybody that walks on the street with a gun, is he going to stop them? That's my point. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you can't just stop everything.
In the totality, in the context of this city. Does that sort of change the game in some perspectives? Yes, it does to a point.
Let me say, I understand.
But I would.
I understand why he did what he did.
Okay. Let me make another argument for you too, and let me not use argument. It's easier for me to get out. And I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a nice way, without seeming.
No, say what you gotta say, man. I don't take offense to nothing.
No. Without seeming like it's ego oriented. I'm gonna beat you on the draw, so I'm not worried about it.
Absolutely.
No, that's not absolutely. Here's the problem. Most cops are not gun people. Okay, they don't train to a level. So what happens is they mentally know they're already behind the curve if something does happen. Me, I'm gonna beat you on the draw, whether your gun's showing or not. Now, but so it's easier for me to come up and go, hey man, hey, how you doing? We got a call. You're walking around with a gun showing. I'm just telling you what's going on. Do you have it? And that would be the first thing out of my mouth is, do you have a valid Indiana?
Do you have ID and do you have a gun permit? Yeah. And then that's where we go into
consensual.
Right. That's where it's consensual.
I'm with you.
When he comes up and demands something from me that I am not legally obligated to give him, that's the problem.
I would agree with that. If there is no justification for that stop, I would agree wholeheartedly with you.
And that's what I'm saying. Me walking through a neighborhood with a gun is a legal act. Okay, it draws attention. So sit here like he did over here and watch me. Make consensual contact. He had no grounds to take my ID. He had no grounds to take my gun permit. I had committed no crime and done nothing wrong. And that's the point. And that's why I'm out here.
With you.
I want to educate, because what I found is older officers seem to have a disconnect with case law and court rulings.
Hang on, because I'm going to back you 110% on that right now.
And I'm going to guess he's an older officer.
Well, he's only got a couple more years than me. Yeah.
We grew up together.
Well, I said older officers
seem
to have a disconnect with
understanding case law,
staying up to date on case law. Just like I told him, I couldn't quote the ruling, and he's going to look it up. There is a case ruling. The Supreme Court has ruled you as a police officer have no obligation for my safety.
I told him like this, I'm going home, dude.
You have no obligation for my safety.
Really?
Yeah. Supreme Court's ruled it.
How the hell we get sued all the time for not?
I'm just telling you.
For some
not
reason,
engaging.
I'm just
like
telling
in
you.
other words, something happened to you.
I think he's right, because I think I've for some reason.
You guys need a better city attorney is what you need.
Well, here's part of the
I don't want to agree on that.
But
with the decisions that we have to make, and I want to go back to what you were talking about, educating us, and that's why I said I applaud what you're doing. We don't get, and the first thing guys want to do when we make a mistake, and gals want to do, is they want to sue.
right.
And you know that, we know that, we've been on both ends of it.
As I say, my incident was 1.5 years ago. I've yet to file anything.
Okay. So
I still can.
Here's the thing, and this is just me. It jumps into a situation where it's right away, okay, they're wrong, sue, or they're wrong, they're going to jail. And one or the other is wrong.
Right.
Okay. The problem with law enforcement across this country is, what do you think is the least amount of focus on most PDs?
Constitutional law.
Which is part of what aspect of a police department? Training?
Right.
Would you agree with me on that?
I would.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to agree with you on that 110%. Because if it was, when we had our SWAT team here, we had a section that we would give to guys, and we would go over case law. Why? Because that guided our actions as a tactical team. You step out of your line there, what happens? It's even worse than just this.
Right.
Okay. So, with that being said, my argument has always been, we need more people like you that help us to get these people to understand, don't cut budgets and training. Don't cut case law review. Don't cut any of that. We need more of that. And there's a handful of us on this PD, and he's one that's included, that pushes for, hey man, we need more of this, and this. Oh, well, we're going to do this, or we're going to do that.
Right.
Hang on a second. If we're well trained, this is how most
Well,
guys would come up to you and go, hey,
my
okay,
hope,
how you doing?
like I said, what I want out of him, which I told you, and you can do what you want with it, is I want an apology out of you. That's all I want. Because when it comes down to brass tacks, you had no legal grounds to stop me. What you had was grounds for a consensual conversation that I had the right to either engage you in or refuse.
Okay. Well,
And then
I
it-
agree with you, but listen, I don't know who you are. You have a gun. I
I
don't want to die.
I understand
okay?
that. And
I don't know if I interrupted you from maybe picking someone off, and maybe with your old lady or whatever. That's like what would get the person to be there, because I find it strange. Cause I heard about someone doing it. Never have I heard it. It's 90 degrees out there. I'm going to do something on detention, and I see you filming. I was like, oh, okay, cool, man. You know what? You know, we filmed. We were taking pictures of Jamaica
So let me-
jail. But here's the thing. So I see you. The first thing I see is a gun. I don't see all I see is a gun. And I asked you. I said, I looked at you, and I could see that you're pissed. I said, you have a gun permit with that? Because I didn't say you couldn't have it. I asked if you have a gun permit.
no, what you told me was it was illegal to open carry, and I had to produce it.
Okay, that's changed. I apologize.
Okay.
That's recently changed. Correct?
So,
How long ago?
I've had my permit 4 years,
What
and
I'm
as
talking
far as
about-
I know, it's never been since I've had a permit.
The thing is,
And I've had it 4 years. Like I
but
said,
my thing is this. I understand that, but don't you find it?
I- I get where you're coming from.
We had, I don't know where it was, but when the guys were coming in to get an officer, a guy came out the bushes and coming down. You don't think that comes in my
Well,
head?
we talk about officers
And
getting
then so I
ambushed.
come in
We
here
did.
and
We
I see,
addressed that.
I don't care, you can do this, you can do, but I'm looking, I see a big ass gun coming out there. I said, okay, there's nothing wrong with a gun. But I'm gonna find out what you're doing.
Okay.
Across the
But-
section. And I asked you, do you have a
My
permit for
issue
it?
with the way you approached it was that you were
Because
misinformed.
now I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're doing there.
Right.
I don't know who you are.
But-
now I know who you are.
I
You're out
understand.
there?
I understand.
I don't.
But
you know.
the whole point of what I do is to educate. I was telling him I was over at Highland today.
Okay. Well,
I
you,
had
you,
a
I, you, you taught me a lesson.
I had a post
Okay,
office
and I
that
appreciate
I had
it.
a postmaster that came out and told me it was illegal to record the post office property. It's not. Their poster 7 in their fucking lobby says I can do it.
I don't know
Homeland
about
Security says I can do it. So that's what I'm saying. But Highland came out.
that. You might not get your mail now.
Actually, I dropped off a package when I was shipping it. So, but Highland came
Did it go
out.
to where you shipped it? or
I don't
did you
know.
go to
We'll
China?
find out.
Yeah.
But Highland came
Damn
out,
it, it didn't get there.
walked up to me, had my gun on, recording, and said, "Hey, how you doing today?" I said, "I'm doing good. How are you?" He goes, "Would you like to speak with me?" And I said, "Am I being detained?" His answer was no. And I said, "No, sir, I would not like to speak with you." I said, "But what I would like you to do is to go educate that gentleman from the post office that what I'm doing is not illegal." So then the guy from the post office came out, and he was a smart ass because he was wrong, and said, "Stand out here all fucking day and enjoy your day," and, or not all fucking day because he didn't cuss, but stand out here all day in the blazing sun, and you know. But he goes, he was wrong, and he learned. And my point is out here,
You're trying to do the same thing.
I'm trying. It's essentially the same thing.
Okay, so I came in wrong, but could you understand from my point of view
I understand.
how I would feel that I'm in there? I'm the old supervisor here. I'm coming here and I'm driving in because this numbnuts got his.
Now,
somehow-
let me throw something else into the equation. And I'm just throwing this, and it's not to defend the sergeant, okay? But are there times where people that have valid gun permits do things?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
But-
minimal. It's
But
very minimal.
the flip side to that is are you going to go and stop every person with a gun?
No, and
Are you going to go
that's a
demand
great-
every person's ID?
No.
You
that's
can't.
That's a great question. But let's go back to when I talk about the legal and prudent person. What do they think?
And just like I told you
And
then,
when somebody's walking and their gun's showing, or like when we talked about the example, the guy walking with a
my
rifle strapped over
and like
his
I told
back
you there,
down here.
my rights don't end where somebody
Yeah,
else's
no.
fear begins.
Yeah, but and I
And
agree with you.
that's how I feel I was treated today, is because something was unusual.
right.
I've had hundreds of officers make contact with me, come out and just say, "Hey, what are you doing?" Sometimes I carry my gun, sometimes I
Do
don't.
they know you? Are they aware of you?
Some
I
do
don't
now because I've been out.
But
I've
the
had
ones that don't, and then like you said, I don't know who you are.
So
You're-
let me ask you this, Jeremy. And I told you he was a good cat. So he comes back here and now we sit and talk.
it makes things a little bit different, doesn't it?
I told you from the get-go,
Right.
I understood
Right.
why he did what he did. The issue I have with what he did was it wasn't legal.
I'm with you.
It violated my civil rights. And that's what I mean. Like, if I was a sue happy guy, like, there's guys out there that go do this, and every time a cop fucks up, they're filing paperwork.
We know that.
I was arrested.
Trust me, we
I was
know.
arrested for flipping off a Lake County cop. He lied on the way in and said I threatened him, so they charged me with felony threatening. They held me on PC for 2 days, so I couldn't bond out, and then charged me, and then plea bargained it out like a driving ticket. How many people do you know that had a felony charge get plea bargained out? And basically what it was is the cop was pissed I flipped him off, and he trumped it up, took me in, and the district attorney goes, well, they want something done, so we can't let him go, but we don't want to take it to court because we're going to look stupid. So they agreed to a deferral if I didn't get in trouble for a year. How many people do you know that have been charged with felony threatening of an officer that got a deferral?
I'm with you on that.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the type of shit that happens to me. So could I have turned around and sued Lake County? They seized all my property. They interfered with my right to record. They arrested me. You know, they cost me my job. All this stuff that happened, I had to pay legal fees. Did I sue them? No. Your guy here touched me when he shoved his camera in my face. Did I sue East Chicago? No.
Right. I'm with you. No, and that's that's appreciated on our end.
You know,
Don't.
like I told him, I
Take
talked
it
to
as
3
it's not.
attorneys over the dude that shoved his phone in my face and said if I were to sue your department or sue your city, that based on their opinion, I could probably get $10,000 to $20,000 just for me to go away. Because it's a drop in the bucket.
They would give you $10,000 to $20,000, and that's usually the going rate.
Right. And that's just
We got sued on something that we were involved in.
and that's just to go away.
Right.
So now turn around today, and I have another case where I could turn around and sue the department and sue you, but I would rather have this conversation and you understand than, like, okay, if I'm suspicious, come make contact with me.
I did.
Right.
But you
Well,
flipped me. Listen,
here's-
you flipped me off. I didn't say. Did I get mad at you? You flipped me off.
No.
I said nothing. Said, you know what? Make sure you record that because, you know, I understand. Once I knew, you know what? I
But
knew
that
you were,
was-
but you know what? You have your issue. Once I knew that you weren't a threat, you were on your way. I tell you, have a nice day. And I was sincere. Have a nice day. It's hot as shit out here. I don't know
Right.
how you can do it.
Right.
You got more balls than me to be out here horsing around.
But what I'm saying is my
okay.
my whole point is we should have never got to that point. You should have came up and tried to have consensual contact. If that doesn't work, then you turn into the dickhead cop and wait for me to jaywalk,
Well, I don't-
sit over here and
Well,
watch
so
me
when
like
I
you
stopped,
were.
I asked you what you're doing. You came up. Hey, what are you doing? Well, yeah, I'm filming.
Exactly.
Walking away, and I said, hey, you gotta go. Well, so I asked you one thing. You already took another level. So we're going like this.
Exactly.
Okay, so I mean, how can you be on me? Yeah, you know what? Maybe I went about around because I don't know who you are. If I knew who you are, I'd have said, hey man, you know what, Jeremy, you want a water? I'm going in. I'll give you water. It's hot out there. You can film all you want.
Because let me
Because,
tell you this. I knew where we were going. You knew where we were going when
I
you
didn't
got
know
up.
where we were going. I got
When-
a guy who's got a gun.
When you pulled up and seen my gun, did you know you were going to ask me for my permit?
I wanted to see what you were doing. I asked you. I was like, hey, what are you doing? I'm filming.
But that's the thing is I had no legal obligation to speak to you. I have no legal
Are you
obligation.
filming so you can see who you're going to kill? Are you filming because you're going to chase somebody down? I mean, so
And that's-
kind of a touchy one.
And that's where the issue is.
Yeah,
I have
that's-
no obligation to help him in his investigation. I have no obligation to cooperate with him. I have no
would-
obligation to speak to him.
I would say
If he tells me I'm detained, my first thing out of my mouth is I want my lawyer.
yeah, I'm down with that.
That's it, and we're done. So that's what I mean. I have no obligation to help him. I have no obligation to give him any information. He could walk up and ask me what I'm doing, and I could tell him to fuck off. I have
You
no
could.
obligation to tell him
As long as
anything.
you're not doing anything. But this goes back to the safety issue is what generated
Then
it.
he's-
And that's what we were
And
talking
then he
about.
sits there and he watches me. He calls other cops in. There's
No,
you know.
he got a dent on his car from the car wash. That's the reason why I came in there.
But-
Otherwise, I'd have never made
But
contact.
that's what
I
I'm
gotta
saying.
go on this report, Jeremy.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, man.
Yep.
I
Take it
enjoyed
easy.
Okay.
All right, Jeremy.
Yep,
Yeah, hey,
take care.
like I said, I apologize.
Fair enough.
But I mean, you gotta look at it a little from my standpoint, dude. I don't know who you are. You're bigger than me, and you got a gun. So
That's
I gotta
true.
figure out, you know what I mean? What are we gonna do? So, all right?
Yep.
All right, man.
All
All out
I-
of water, I will give you one, man.
No, I appreciate it.
All right.
All I ask in the
Okay.
future, man, is just
Yeah, you know what?
use a little bit of discretion.
Okay.
You know?
What? I'm not one that I'm not afraid. I can be educated by anybody.
Right.
I don't know everything.
Right.
And like my grandma used to tell me, you can learn something new every day.
But that's what I tell him. Like, just
He's a smart dude.
and I told him, and I'll tell you the same thing. I don't know. Like I said, I couldn't tell you how many feet I have to hit my turn signal before I have to turn.
Oh,
That shit,
He got 95%
That
of the
shit, that
answers.
shit, I'm ignorant to. But you can bet your ass if I'm gonna walk out here with a gun and a camera, I'm gonna be educated on what I'm doing. Because
Why don't you have the things, man? You know what? It'd be so easy that, hey, you know what? What are you doing? This is what I'm doing. I am doing this. I'm over there. I'm exercising this right, or this right. Okay, Jeremy. Thank you. Have a good day. Because then to make it easier, then you're educating fast. You got to do it. I mean, yeah, we should have more. But remember, it's a changing thing. You know, next session or whatever, something else is going to change.
right, I mean, there's just 60-something
After-
laws that went
after
into effect
August-
in Indiana.
After August,
You know, July-
in November is when everything goes in.
Yeah,
So
I
we'll
mean,
see what else goes
Yeah,
in.
they just put 60-something laws into effect in Indiana. So no, I get it. The whole point of it is, I guess the best way to say it is, I know you think it, you look at it, and most cops look at it as baiting cops, trying to get a reaction, trying to sue.
Well, I didn't know what you're
I'm
doing.
not that guy.
Okay, I didn't know. I just
Now
scared
you
the
know
shit out of
that.
me
But
being over there.
but
because
here-
now I gotta make sure my guy is.
here's the thing. I give you a stage, just like a concert. I give you a stage, and what you do with that stage is what projects to my audience. I can't control your actions. So if you roll up to me and are immediately like, motherfucker, you're giving me your gun permit, then that's on you. That has nothing to do with me.
I didn't disrespect you one bit. I just said, man, what you doing? You know, like you said, we can go on and on.
Right.
Okay, it's over. I got educated on something. You got a little educated on it. Should have been handled different? Yes.
Right.
Were you right? Yes. Was I right? What I felt? Yes. So it's a teeter-totter.
And that's
maybe way to go a little more your way, but on my
And
mind,
that's-
it goes this way. It depends on the standpoint.
and that's what I told him. And it's not just directed at you, it's directed at society
Well,
in
I know
general.
you're mad at that because I don't know what happened on that one, but I didn't do it that way. I'm worried about my safety and my men and women.
Right. Well, they used the
And-
same
and-
argument, and they stalked me for 45 minutes, and
I can't.
you know,
I
that's
can't preach
that's
it.
neither here nor there. But what I want to end with is this. I come out to educate. If I wanted to sue you, I mean, clearly I have you on video admitting you were wrong. He's admitted you're wrong. I could sue you and probably get 10, 15, 20 grand. That's not what I want. I would rather you as the shift supervisor be like, hey, this is what I did. Learn from my mistake. Because you're the one that passes down information to
Well, I
these
mean,
guys.
Things are different, but like I said, my encounter on you, because I don't know who you are, but what I seen, I feel I was right. You're a suspicious thing, I engaged you. Okay? Could be had different, yeah. But I have to. If I
Right.
don't, and then you gun somebody and gun us
I-
sound coming out, and that's what I didn't want.
I agree with you engaging
And
me.
That's it. We can go. Yeah, you're gonna have it because you're not gonna say, yeah, hey officer, I'm 100% wrong with you. Yeah, did I come
But
out the wrong way? No.
What I
did it-
what I
did it-
can tell you is I know if I hadn't given you my gun permit, you would have arrested
I
me.
wasn't gonna arrest you. It's not a crime to have a gun. You gotta have a gun permit.
Well, if I would have failed to produce, you would have at least put me in cuffs and detained me. It would have gone farther than what it
But I
did.
think it didn't. So I mean, we can go if with it.
But
and that, and this
that's
and
why I said I'm giving it to you under duress, because I knew if I didn't, it would have been escalated on
that.
your
I
on
really
your
never-
end. You would with your concern of safety, you can't look at me and say if the interaction we had over there, if you came up to me and said I need to see your gun permit, and I said no and walked away, you wouldn't have left it.
Well, here's the thing. What if,
And-
what if, what if
and I know that.
What if I would have drew down on you because I feel that you were out there and I was threatened, and you didn't get on there? I mean, or you reached for your gun. I mean, that's what I said. I mean, the thing is,
Right.
I mean, it's not worth it over to trying to educate. That's what I said. It'd be so much easier. Hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to educate you, police officer, so you guys don't make the mistakes that's been in the past and everything, or have something that happened that shouldn't happen. This is what I'm.
Well,
trying
what
to
I'm
do.
hoping for out of today is that with what you've learned, it'll get
But you do
spread
learn-
around the department.
But did you learn too?
Did
about people who don't, you're going to be going to. If you go
I've had
to- you're going to be going to PDs if people don't know you.
I've had contact.
And hopefully you don't have somebody who panics.
Can I tell you, I've been to tons of PDs. Most police departments, if I get a response, It's typically 1 to 2
I'm talking
officers.
about when you're out here.
Yeah, no,
y'all are
I'm
running
saying
around.
I've been to Highland, I've been to Hammond, I've been to Hobart, I've been to New Chicago, I've been to Lake Station, I've been all these places. I typically get 1 to 2 officers if I get anything. I had my interaction with you here, and then the first time I was here, I got 5 officers and I was touched. Your department has by far been the worst. That's why I came back. It's been a year and a half.
I'm sure we rate pretty good at other things too, other than that.
You could. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Jeremy.
But it's just, it's interaction,
Jeremy,
man.
I know it's my job harder than what it is.
I'll see you again. There you go, guys. Now I gotta hurry up and go get the kids because I'm late.
Next time I'll have a water for you too, seriously.
Hey, that's cool. Don't pull me over. I gotta haul ass and go get my kids.
Go get 'em. That's what you should do with your family.
I'm late.
Hi, I'm
There we go. So I got a cop to admit he was wrong. I got him to admit they're a illegal gang. Throw your boy some donations. Hit up the PayPal. But that's what I mean. I got him to admit he was wrong and that his fear don't trump my rights. It's that simple. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I got to call my kids. I was supposed to get my kids 5 minutes ago, and I'm like 10 minutes away.